So, what is the water issue? After having a lot of internal discussions and reading a lot about the topic, we discovered that it's not a few simple the consequences of something bigger is super interrelated, as is our whole ecosystem. And we would like to start from two very different angles, but that are connected in the end to the water scarcity issue. One of them is the ecosystem change that we're seeing every day in the news, the heat waves, the longer droughts, the heavier rains that we have, and from the other side, the low prices for farmers. And I would like to start with this one because maybe it's the one that it's less easy to relate to the water scarcity issue. The low prices for farmers are drive farmers to search for increased production. So how can I get more production in each hectare of my farm so that with the low prices that I'm receiving per kilogram, I can increase the overall income I get in my farm. Um, for this, they can apply two different methods. One, they can eliminate other living competition that they have, what we normally have been calling weeds. This obviously has a huge impact in the decrease of biodiversity. So the water scarcity obviously directly affects biodiversity. We are seeing this issue, for example, with birds, with insects, etc. But also eliminating all of the habitat where insects, birds, and other animals are living, it directly affects their existence in that area. All of this drives to inert soil. So we are eliminating all life in our soils and all capacity to retain that water, to retain carbon. What is this is making is higher evaporation. So when we do get rain and when we do get humidity, it very easily runs off when it doesn't have any cover on top. So no grass, no weeds, no anything part or crop. What happens is that it is very easy that it gets heated really quickly and the water is evaporated. And we also get runoffs. So when water does come, it comes so intensely with a heavier rains, it runs off really quickly into the sea and taking with it a lot of the soil that we had. So all of the nutrients of our crops run with that water, creating this mud rivers that we see and destroying the soil that had been accumulated for a lot of time. This in turn creates again decrease of production because the plant doesn't have the water and the nutrients to feed itself with, and it affects the search again for increased production. This is done eliminating competition using other nutrients, synthetic nutrients, etc. They search for increased production, and then we come into topics that are more easy to relate maybe. The search for increased production turns into the transformation of dry land into irrigation. So crops that can survive without water, like olive trees, like almond trees, now we're using water to get more production and more predictive production. So we can increase the production of olive trees or almond trees using water and not depending on water from the rain from 5 to 10 more times. So you can imagine why more water is asked for from farmers. When they do not get it legally, they turn into illegal wells to increase the production of their farms through more water. We're not justifying at all the creation, we're just explaining the reasons that turn farmers to look for water illegally. Both of this, if it's legally or illegally, is turning to emptying water reservoirs. And this is what is called the hydrological drought. So not having water in the sources that we normally get it from. And we have then one last reason of this water scarcity issue, that is that the reasons we saw at the beginning, right? So the heat waves, the longer droughts, the heavier rains, the meteorological drought that we're seeing in the news every day is directly affecting the rest, right? So when we were used to having empty water to get from the reservoirs because we expected rain to come in a certain month, suddenly this rain is not coming. and it is too late now to act and to manage the water sustainably. So I hope with this explanation that it's kind of simplified, but we believe it shows the complexity of this whole issue, that it's not just not from one source, but it's a mix of different reasons that are driving us to talk every day about the lack of water.